welcome everybody. Today is the 7th of May and I just thought I'd pop on and give you a quick prediction reading. If you are new to my channel, I do regular readings, probably pretty much daily. I try to get on as much as I can because the energy can change. So I'm just going to let my guides channel through to you and I will get the messages to you today on the 7th of May. And we'll just get started and see what comes up. I'm definitely getting that the capitals are growing. So we're getting that high energy platforms now. So this is what I meant about the other day about they're going to start working on the capitals first. So there's definitely going to be these big outputs of, I guess you could say it's the reset agenda, but it's the outputs of the energy. We talked about the 5G, I think, yesterday. There's these big rollouts now that are really starting to take hold. I'm definitely getting that around the capitals. So we're talking about the major cities, the capital cities, anywhere that's very populated. These are the areas they're going to be working on first, and I'm definitely getting that today, that this is all starting to happen now. There's huge shifts that are starting to take place in the major cities, and this is globally, this is everywhere. It's not just here in Australia, this is everywhere. Just see what else they give me on this. Now, they're showing me, they're still saying that people are starting to stand up and fight. Now, I think you would have to be completely asleep to not see that people are now standing up and fighting against a variety of issues. Now, there's people, I know in America, you've got people standing up about the abortion. You've got a lot of things going on about abortion. There's a lot of people standing up about different things. We've got heaps of strikes here in Australia. We've got bus strikes, we've got nurse strikes, we've got teacher strikes. I'm not sure if you guys are getting strikes where you're living. I did predict that would happen, but what the guides are actually saying about this is that it's that turbulent energy. Now, I talked about people, there's a mid-group that are still waking up in this process of the Great Awakening. And what they're saying is that people standing up and fighting for anything, it doesn't matter what the issue is, that's a positive thing because it means people are learning to find their voice. So I think we also have to take it that anybody who's trying to create a movement is standing up against government. So we have to look at those things too as something very positive moving forward, because that means that people are starting to find their voices. They're not being suppressed anymore. You know, we've had teachers strike here every week pretty much for the whole day. Like, I've had my daughter home because the strikes are so full on because they're short-staffed. But as we all know, and I know you guys watching my videos, we know that the mandates that they brought in removed a heap of teachers, nurses, doctors. It covers all areas. And even fireys, ambulance drivers, they lost their jobs and their livelihoods. So anyone standing up against government is a positive thing, because it means people are waking up and they're seeing the truth, and they're calling they're calling their government and parliamentary leaders out on it. So we have to take that as a positive. When we do get the teachers' strikes here, I noticed on their signs and their placards and things that there's nothing ever about sort of the mandates or implementing, making the unjabbed men, leave their jobs because they were mandated. There's none of that. Obviously, they're not allowed to write that on there. I don't know why, but they're making out it's about pay rises. Same with the buses. I think the trains is a safety aspect. So they're all using different kind of reasoning as to why, but they're still standing up. So it doesn't matter what they're standing up for, but it's a great sign that something's shaking people up. And something's not feeling right in them, and they're being overworked, underpaid. And this is what I'm saying, and I just wanted to highlight that to you. People are seeing the injustice of all this because we know that all these scabillionaires and the elites are still making zillions of money. It's just getting really obvious. So I think we have to look at any sort of protest or anyone standing up against government is a positive thing. And it doesn't matter what they're protesting about or what the issue is, we have to take it as a positive. I'll see what else we get today. Now, they're saying that government and that's going to pretend, and they're going to make out, as we know, that they're delivering you a great service. Now, I talked about this a few weeks ago. I remember talking about how they're going to sell their agenda and make out it is going to be positive and wonderful. Now, for you and I watching this, you watching this video, and for us here sharing our experiences, we know that they've got very clever word trickery and manipulation. I mean, with the reset, they keep saying, oh, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Now, they're trying, you can even tell by the tone of it, it's like, well, you won't have any pressures because you're not going to own anything, and life will be easy and wonderful and be like just lazing around on the beach, and the sun will be shining and you'll drink your cocktail. They're making out this is what will happen, that you won't have any pressures in life and your life will be really easy and you will be happy. And that is what they're feeding people. And this is what they're saying. They're really very clever in their word manipulation. And I'm getting that again today. This is what they're going to start serving up to the people. They're going to start serving up to the people that your life will be better if we implement this and we implement that. And we go ahead with the agenda that and the ideas that we have, because we're very experienced and we're good at solving all these issues that you little plebs and little people of society are going through. We're the ones that can save you. And again, they're going to save everybody by their great and wonderful ideas. I mean, look at, like I said, Bill Gates just wrote his book on how to survive future pandemics or something like that. I don't even know what it's called. I was just that furious when I actually saw that he'd written a book and he's a millionaire. And I think we've got to question a lot of things as well, because why is that Bill Gates and many other people, I'm sure, that are in the elite bracket, why are they building their homes right on the waterline? I think Bill Gates is building some crazy mansion right on the seafront. Now, if there was really bad climate change, he wouldn't be building there, would he? So this is where people are starting to piece these things together, because that's the stuff that's not making sense. It's the extreme difference in the way we're all being pushed down and shoved over here in the corner, and they're building and building and building and building not only their wealth, but they're building their personal power. And this is how these people thrive. They love that power. Gosh, look at Klaus Schwab. I mean, he's not even young. And he is just loving this. He's signed up something with the UN, and we know that's scary as all hell. So this is what's going on. These global elites are just getting more and more empowered, and people are seeing it. And I still want you to know that people are starting to join those dots, and they're seeing the extreme in the poverty and the wealth. And this is what's happening. There's this push apart. It's becoming really obvious. If you think about the scales, like the balancing of the scales, you've got your wealthy and your elite, and you've got your middle class and your lower class, like on the scales. It's not balanced. Boom, it's like that. We're down here, we've got too much weight on us, burdens and struggle, and they're up here having a wonderful time, free, implementing whatever they can, because they own all the media platforms, as you guys know, and I know. They own everything. BlackRock, Vanguard, Bill Gates owns everything. We know here in Australia, ABC's ratings probably were dropping, and then they gave them a heap of funding. And ABC's so biased, people aren't getting the real news. The only real news we get here in Australia, and you can probably check it out on YouTube, is Sky News. And they call people out all the time. They talk about the reset. They talk about China taking over all the islands. That's the only channel here in Australia that we hear truths on. The rest are owned by, as you know, I know in America and all these places, Canada, you guys, we know that media, mainstream media, is not our friend. I'll see what else we get today. Sorry, sometimes they go off on a little rant. Oh dear. Now today, I'm going to thank Danielle from Canada. I I think you speak French. For just inspiring me with this today, because you were telling me about how you're bike riding and you're really getting out in nature, and this is the message that I'm getting today, and that's what the guides are saying. Like, we have to do the simple things. And I know Danielle and many of you out there are doing really simple things, and I love it. I love hearing back from you guys about how you're starting to enjoy your life again, and how you're getting out in nature, and how you're calming your mind, and how you're uplifting your spirit and your soul. Now, this is what the guides are saying to me. They're actually giving me the quote, like, it's a dog's life. So when you think of a dog's life, and as you guys know, I've got Sophie and Sprocket, my rescue dogs, and I look after Penny sometimes, and I know you guys out there have got dogs as well. A dog's life is very simple. All the dog wants is food, shelter, water, lots of hugs usually, depending on the dog, unless it's a working dog and then they're too busy working. But most dogs just want to be loved. And look, the love that a dog gives us is like nothing else. It's that unconditional love, and they just have respect for you. They love you no matter what. It's like they can forget things and just move on. You get home from work or wherever you've been, and they just jump all over you and lick you to death. And this is what I'm getting. It's that the simple life of a dog. And this is kind of where we're at. So if you're watching my video, this is kind of the energy that they're showing me, is that we're really enjoying the simple things. We have learnt to bring ourselves back and calm our mind and just do the simple things that bring us joy and bring us to life and ignite that sort of spark in us again. And that's what they're showing me, that dog, that we're actually starting to nurture ourselves. So it's like that unconditional love. We're starting to kind of give it to ourselves. It's like when the dog gives you love, it's just a feeling. It's not even that they're talking to you, because dogs, can't talk and say, oh, I love you, mum, or I really love you, and let's go play. Where's the ball? Like, that's not what this is. It's like a silent exchange of like energy and feelings. And that's what we're starting to really give to ourselves. And that's why we're starting to feel better. And I always say it to people, there's no love like a dog's love. It's just like nothing else. And look, it could be a pet. You might have a cat, you might have a bird, you might have a snake. I know some people have snakes. I know people here that have snakes. It doesn't matter what your pet is. Some people like... Sorry. Sorry, talk too fast sometimes. Some people like ferrets. My neighbours have got ferrets. Oh my gosh, because they're allergic to cats, so they can't have ferrets. But there's nothing like having a pet or that unconditional love that you get. But this is what we're starting to find again, and we're starting to bring it into our life and give it to ourselves. And that's how we're becoming stronger. And I know you guys out there are really working on that. You're really... You're getting back to living again, and that's what this is about. Yes, we've got things we have to navigate, and I talk about the challenges can be quite hard for us sometimes, but we're actually really starting to navigate this quite well. Despite whatever is going on in that narrative or in the media, it's irrelevant because it doesn't affect us. And what anybody else thinks of us doesn't affect us because we're us. We can move ourselves into a different direction. And I think that's the biggest message today that the guides are giving me, that you're really becoming aware now that you're in control of your life. And that's why it's very important. And I said yesterday that you make sure you put your thoughts on the things that you do want and stop kind of getting caught in that narrative of what you don't want. Like I said on the news here yesterday, they talked about the unjabbed people are causing these new variants to rise up, and all this kind of thing was on the news again, that the unjabbed are still dying and blah, blah, blah. And that's what you don't want to get caught up in. You don't want your old pain body and your old feelings to come back up and rise. You want to have a bit of a laugh at that. Like I said, I put the news on sometimes just to see what they're feeding people, because I have found that way to detach from it. But I actually find it like a comedy show, like I said, because it's that ridiculous that they're even still pushing that old agenda, which doesn't make any sense. Actually, and just while I think of it, that's something I wanted to tell you guys as well. Yesterday, I was in the supermarket and I ran into a girl that I know, and she actually stopped me and she said, Chrissy, I'm getting really worried. And she actually talked to me about she's having a really tight chest, and she's also... had some clotting. She's feeling really sick and really ill. She's had to go to the doctors. They can't find answers. And I just kind of looked and I said, well, have you had you've had the jab? I said, have you had the booster? Because I said, you want to be very careful of having any more boosters if you're going through that. And I could tell, you know, she was really thinking about it. I could tell she was still uncertain, but she did talk to me and said that the doctor was kind of kept saying to her, I think it's your anxiety, because she's experienced anxiety most of her life. But as a lot of you and I know, we all know what anxiety feels like. And she even said to me, Chrissy, it's not anxiety. I know this isn't anxiety. It feels very different. It's a sharp pain in my chest. And, you know, this is the kind of stuff. And I just wanted to share that with you guys, because this is what's happening out there. People are starting to get their reactions. It might be a bit delayed, but this is starting to happen. They're starting to query things, and they're starting to question why, well, what's the doctor kind of saying? You know, they're getting palmed off and I know you guys out there, anyone who's injured, I know that you guys have been palmed off by a lot of doctors and things and dismissed, and sort of, it's like the too hard basket. They want to push you aside because they don't want to lose their doctor's registration or whatever it is. And this is what's kind of going on now. So you've got to realize that all this is kind of going on in the background. And I just wanted to give you that as an example today, because people are processing, they're thinking, hang on, I had that, then I got that. I've never had these types of pains. I mean, anxiety is a very different feeling. It's almost a feeling that sort of rises up in your body and you get a little bit panicky. It's a tightness, but she explained that it was a very different pain, something she's never felt before, and she even had it across her back. And this is just an example, and I'm sure that you guys are probably starting to see that. Please comment, let me know down below if anyone's approached you or said anything to you and sort of queried things. But this is what's all sort of percolating in the background. I talk about that sort of third of the population that's still kind of waking up. Well, this is what's percolating now. Things are, the bubbles, like I said the other day, the bubbles are popping and the information's coming out. So then people are starting to do their research. They're starting to look into things. And I'm telling you, that gap is closing. The gaps to the truth is closing. Just because we can't see everything that's going on. You know, I talk about us being on the top of the mountain and putting our flags up there, but that's just showing people where to head. You know, if you think about the top of a mountain, people go, I'm going, you know, I'm going to climb that mountain, I'm going to walk up to that top. People are looking at that. They're looking at those flags on that top of the mountain, that representation of all of us freedom fighters, people against tyranny, vaccine injured, people standing up against mandates. People are looking towards that light. And the flags on the mountain, rather. And that's what I'm getting today. That's why things are percolating and bubbles are popping and people are joining those dots and things are starting to happen. You have to trust and you have to believe. And that's what the guys are saying today. You have to really trust that this is, remember, we've already woken up. So this is other people waking up at their pace. All you're doing is planting the seeds. Like I said to her yesterday, maybe you should think about taking your vitamin Z, zinc, D, and C, you know, and I showed her the vitamins in the supermarket. So, you know, this is us planting those little seeds to try and get people's health back, because we know where this is kind of all headed and it's not great. So people are feeling that something's wrong in them. And I really wanted to just share that with you today. Sorry, I got all off track, but I thought that was a good indication of, you know, people starting to see those truths. I'll see if there's any last messages today. Now, earlier in the year, I talked about us all getting on trains and going in different directions in our journey of the V. Now, I'm getting that the trains are at like a violent halt. So I feel like all the trains are currently halted. So it's like everybody's anticipating. Now, this is on every train. This is for us who have already woken up. This is for the people who are waking up. And this is even for the people who are still in a coma and asleep in the mass psychosis. Everyone's trains have halted. And everybody's like at a standstill because they're anticipating what's coming next. And this is the energy that the guides are giving me, because people are anticipating everything. You think about it. They're anticipating the cost of living. They're anticipating, hang on, what's happening here? What's going on? Why is government implementing this? Why are they touching people's bank accounts in Canada? You know, these are the things that are causing people to stop and assess. And that's what we want. We want people to start assessing things and looking at things in a realistic way, not to just be stuck in a psychosis where they're only being fed one lot of information. And this is why people have sort of halted at the moment. So there's a lot of this, even though things like the guides are saying, like back at the station, we'll say the station is like the government at the train station, even though they're doing all their prep work and they're getting all their ticket sellers ready and lined up to take people through the train booths when they get off the platforms or whatever, it doesn't mean that we're all there yet, because it feels like everybody's a little bit frozen in time. Like the message that I'm getting is this really happening? And I think there's questions being asked around everybody, the people who are on the awake train, the people who are on the waking up train, and the people who are in the mass psychosis train and still in a coma and asleep. They're still even asking, is this really happening? What's happening here? Remember, they were told 2 weeks and it'll be done. And here we all are, like 2.5 years later, and it's nearly 2.5 years. And this is what I'm getting. So we're all come to a standstill. And it's that, I'm going to leave you with that today. It's that feeling of anticipation. I'll just see if there's anything else around that. Oh, and I'm getting the message for you guys out there. The guys are saying it's okay to anticipate things, but they're saying to you, don't stop flying. So you keep moving. You keep doing the things you have to do. You keep embracing life. You keep strolling along the street. And just because your train stopped doesn't mean you can't get off and have it like a picnic. This is what they're kind of saying to me. When your train stops, it doesn't mean you have to anticipate the worst. So this is for you guys who are awake and who are watching my videos. You don't have to anticipate the worst. Look, we know what they're trying to roll out. We're not stupid. We're onto it. But what they're saying is you can still get off your train. If your train's stagnant at the platform, just get off, have your picnic, go for your bike ride. You know, do the things, go and wander around the bush and get a bit of fresh air while you're waiting, sit and do some meditation and yoga. This is what I'm getting. Still, even though your train might be stopped at the moment, we're anticipating a lot of things that are about to come. You can still also live your life around that. And you can do those things that are going to still fulfill your day. So just because your train is stopped doesn't mean you can't get off and then get back on later. It's actually telling you to do that. It's telling you to just, just hop off and go and enjoy something. Your train's not going anywhere, so just, meanwhile, go and have a little bit of fun and ignite your soul and do something that's going to really uplift your spirit and, you know, make sure that you're having a good day and that you're vibrating on that good high vibration. You don't have to sit on a train, look, you know, as example, and just looking out the window waiting for something to happen. That's not who we are. That's not us. That's not how we think and not how we're wired. We can see things in different dimensions. We can make the most now of a situation no matter what we're faced with. It's like when we were locked down, we still tried to make the most of it, and eventually we let ourselves over to that freer and more flowing place. So just because you might feel like you're still stagnated and standing still in your, for example, train, you're not. Don't worry what government's doing over there with their ticket turnstiles and ready to put everybody through and, you know, the digital and all that kind of nonsense, because that's not our stuff. Our stuff is to make sure that we're having a happy, healthy and whole life. So get off the train today and go and do something fun. It might be a picnic, it might be a bike ride, it might be cooking. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You might even be playing guitar out there, Dan. I know you play the guitar, you're very talented. So a lot of you guys, you know, have great skills and great experiences that can really make you feel good inside. So that's the message from the guides today. So look, I'm going to leave you with that. Have a wonderful day, everybody. It's Saturday here. It's the weekend. I'm off to watch my boy play football. He plays rugby union and he's playing in town today, so I can finally watch him. Don't forget, if you're new to my channel, to subscribe and hit the bell notification. Hit those like buttons and please comment. I love hearing from you guys. I love that you guys chat together because it makes us all feel supported, including me. And I will see you in the next video. Bye from Australia. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day.